Well, good evening, good morning, or whatever time it is that you're going to be able to watch this. I know that this was kind of a last minute decision for me to do the Let me get some headphones on here, just so I can make sure that audio is actually playing, and it sounds like it is. If there is anybody in chat, if you can comment in the chat and say that yes, video and audio is actually working. From everything I see and from what I hear, it looks like it's all working, so that's good. So I know that there may not be anybody on this live stream, and like I said, it was a last minute decision for me to do this because tomorrow's Friday. I'm super, super, super busy. The weekend has already been taken up, so I wanted to be able to do this live stream and talk a little bit about some of the action cameras or some of the cameras that may get released in 2025. And I wanted to show you this because Insta360 had posted up a little teaser 3 weeks ago. Let me see if I can get that to pop up. So it's this right here. So this was on their YouTube page on a post from 3 weeks ago, and it says our partnership with Leica continues. With a shared commitment to pushing image excellence to the max, we're continuing to bring Leica's century-long experience to the world of action cameras. So you may ask then, what's next? Stay tuned. Stay tuned. So that means something's coming up. Something's going to get released. What is that going to be? Well, I don't know. This is kind of a speculation on my part because I want to go ahead and let this be known right now. I have no inside knowledge of whatever this next camera is going to be with this Leica lens. And obviously, when you think of Leica and Insta360, so they've had a partnership going all the way back to the Insta360 1R. So if you remember this dude right there, get it to focus. This camera was really revolutionary because it was a modular design. You had the battery on the bottom, then you had the brains right here, and then the lens assembly could be removed on it. So the standard kit came with the 360 dual lens, and then you could take this off and have the 4K lens assembly to snap it in, and then you could use that as a traditional action camera. And then they came out with the 1-inch module that worked with this, and it was co-engineered with Leica. And so I guess that's where their partnership actually began. Now, Spider Moose, hello, Spider Moose. You say, yes, it's working. That's good. Frank Bagan, video and audio is okay. I'm trying something different because I'm using the Osbot Tiny 2. It's a web camera, and I've got it hooked up through here, through OBS. And from what I'm seeing on the screen, there may be a little bit of a delay between video and audio. And if there is, I'm really sorry, because then it's kind of like one of those old Kung Fu movies where the mouth and the video are all out of sync. But so I bring this up about Insta360 because what could they come out with? Because historically, for those of you that are new to Insta360 products, or you've kind of heard about them, but you really don't know a lot of history about them, Insta360, they were really the groundbreaking company when it came to 360 cameras. And then they got into the action camera stuff. And if you look at the time frame, so like I've got a ton of cameras here on the table, so excuse me if I keep looking down. So this dude right here came out a long, long time ago. You look like a black and white movie. Well, if, if this is in black and white, then I've got settings messed up somewhere. But that's okay. Black and white, that monochrome, that's kind of a cool look there, Spider Moose. But this came out a long time ago. And then they came out with the X2, and that's this guy right here, the Insta360 1X2. This one had the round screen on it, and this one came out in October of 2020. Historically, when you think about Insta360 and their 360 cameras, they kind of stick to a set schedule when it comes to putting out these 360 cameras. So this one came out in, like I said, October 2020. Then they came out with the Insta360 X3, which had a larger screen, 5.7K, improved stabilization, improved video quality, improved audio. And the X3 came out in September of 2022, so 2 years. Then we've got the Insta360 X4, which now does 8K 30 frames per second, and everything else was improved, and there's always improvements with Insta360. This came out in April of 2024. So if you see historically when it comes to these 360 cameras and Insta360, they're on a 2-year schedule. So if the X4 came out in 2024, we shouldn't be looking at an X5 in 2025. We should be looking at an X5 in 2026. But then again, they've kind of fast-tracked a couple of things. And what I mean by fast-track is, so they came out with the Insta360, the Ace, the non-pro version. And then they came out with the Insta360 Ace Pro. Come on, focus. Will it try? Oh, it's close enough. But anyway, the Ace Pro came out in November of 2023. And then the Ace Pro 2 came out in October of 2024. Excuse me. Finding a cold right now, too. But would they come out, since this just came out in October 2024, would they come out with a Insta360 Ace Pro 3? I think it's a little bit too soon for that. And remember, the Ace Pro and the Ace Pro 2 have that Leica lens, or that Leica lens cooperation. Jeez Louise. I haven't used the little cough drop that I've got in my mouth right now to try to help with this. But anyway, I'm going to push on. So let's go to the next thing. Well, Insta360 came out with the Insta360 Go 3. And the Go 3 came out in June of 2023. Good camera, 2.7K. I've even got a black version of it that Insta360 was nice enough to send me. Then they came out with the Insta360 Go 3S. Now, the Go 3S, that got released in June of 2024. So, if it comes to something that Insta360 is going to release, I think it's going to be, maybe they're making a web camera, and it's going to have some Leica lens cooperation technology and some Leica colors. If I was a betting man, and like I said, I've got no inside knowledge about this whatsoever. I've got a good relationship with Insta360. I'm not going to get into the whole Insta360 gate stuff, because just because that happened with a couple of YouTubers doesn't mean it happened to all. And I think it's a representative that they were working with. The reps from Insta360 that I work with have been fantastic, but I do not get products early. So I always get them after launch, so I have no inside knowledge. So what is Insta360 going to do? What are they going to bring to the market that has this Leica? Would it be a web camera? I don't know, because if you look back at their statement here, it talks about, we're continuing to bring Leica's century-long experience to the world of action cameras. So, if I was a betting man, and I'm not, because my wife won't let me bet, but if I was a betting man, I would say that the Leica lens cooperation technology thing, that's going to be the next release from Insta360, is going to be an Insta360 Go 4. And of course, this tiny Ozbot Tiny 2 does not want to focus to save its life. But I think it's going to be a Go 4. And it may still have this modular design where you can pop out the camera out of its little action pod. I think that may actually happen. Didn't mean to turn that on. Maybe it's going to be a little bit bigger. So could you imagine something that is like an Ace Pro 2 in its size, maybe a bigger sensor, maybe the same sensor that's in the Ace Pro or Ace Pro 2, but in the Go 4. I think that that's where Insta360 is going to go. I think that that's logically what the next thing is going to be, because the Ace Pro 2 is just, it's way too new to market. And I may be totally wrong regarding the 360 cameras. They may sit there and say, you know what, we've been on a traditional 2-year schedule for 360 cameras. Maybe they've got some new developments, some new improvements, because, you know, with the dual chip AI that's in the Insta360 Ace Pro 2, they may bring that to the X5, and that may be the new release. Maybe they'll have 8K 60 frames per second. But it's, let's see. Oh, I just saw a comment pop up here. Uncle Trap Media, hard to watch. Audio is out of sync with the video. I apologize about that. Like I said, I'm using a web camera that even on OBS looks like it is out of sync. And for that fact, I apologize that it's hard to watch, because like I said, I could be like a kung fu movie, right? And I'm just dubbing in words. I will go back to my old setup. Unfortunately, my Sony a7 IV, the battery was dead on it, and I don't have a dummy battery to stick into it to get it going, but it is what it is. So anyway, they may come out with the X5, but I personally think it's going to be the Insta360 Go 4. I think that's the logical thing of what the next camera is going to be. You know, and then there's a lot of rumors that, and I bring up DJI, and as much as I trashed, and I can't, well, I don't want to say trash them, but as much as I gave them difficulty regarding the Action 5 Pro, and was it really a pro camera? And I think it has so many issues, but it's got so much potential also. So, you know, I wish DJI could figure this out. But I've been pretty loyal to DJI with products, and that stems all the way back to drones. And this is probably one of the best cameras I've got. Like I said, my whole desk here is just laid out with cameras, but I'm trying to make a point. But the Pocket 3, what an absolute beast. And DJI, they just don't do drones. They just don't do action cameras. They don't do just the Pocket. They do gimbals. They've got their fingers on a lot of things. But there's some rumors, and you know, like rumors are, some are substantiated, some are just conjecture, and I think that this one may be a little bit of conjecture, but I made this comment years ago regarding GoPro. And just imagine if GoPro, and this is what I said 3 years ago, imagine if GoPro could come out with a mirrorless camera that was a consumer camera, not an action camera. Maybe if it had a Micro Four Thirds sensor or even an APS-C, but they could bring that GoPro stabilization into a mirrorless body. What a fantastic thing that would be. That would be groundbreaking. GoPro never did that. Now the rumor is that DJI may be working on a mirrorless camera. And if they did, with that stabilization, that could be groundbreaking, especially if it had interchangeable lenses. And you may say, well, you know what? There's no market for an action camera company to transition from action cameras into mirrorless cameras. But I will remind you of this. So if you remember way back when they had a lot of budget action cameras that were out, there was Thei. I mean, there was a lot of them. The Caso, and then there was Yi. And Yi made a really good action camera at the time that was budget and comparable to GoPro because Yi was using the Umbrella chipset. Well, this is what Yi did, the M1. And for those of you that don't know, this is a Micro Four Thirds. Pop that lens off there. Come on, focus. But Micro Four Thirds, interchangeable lens. And that was something that kind of took the market by surprise. Unfortunately, Yi, and it was using a Sony sensor, by the way. This thing worked really well. The back screen on it is not articulable, so it is a fixed back screen on this camera. And it could shoot 4K. And it was a great introduction for Yi to get into the mirrorless market. So there is basis for an action camera company to get into a mirrorless camera market. And when I say mirrorless, a larger, whether it's Micro Four Thirds, APS-C, I don't think that they would ever go full frame. But then again, what do I know? Regarding GoPro, I don't know if you guys watch stocks at all. I do every day. And sometimes I jump up for joy that my stocks are doing good. Sometimes I'm just like, oh, good God, just lost a lot of money. But if you look at GoPro today, it was like 55 cents. I don't know if GoPro is going to be around for a long time. I don't think that the GoPro name would ever go away. I think that it would probably get acquired by another company. But out of all the cameras, and you look at everything that Insta360's been offering, and I can't complain. They've got some really good, innovative ideas that they come out with. And yes, like on the Ace Pro 2, it doesn't have a selfie screen up front. It does have dual screens, but that front screen is just for information only. But this rear screen is very large. And if you go into selfie mode, you flip up the rear screen, you've got a really, really large screen that you can deal with. And I think that that is probably better than what a small front screen on the DJI offers. But then again, I'm not, I don't have a problem with the DJI smaller screen because it still gives you a chance to kind of compose your shot and make sure that you're in frame correctly. I made this live stream about Insta360, but I do want to talk about some of the other cameras that are out there. It seems like DJI has really kind of abandoned the Action 5 Pro, and I think that the Action 5 Pro had a ton of potential, and unfortunately, every firmware release that they've released, they did release one that all of us had asked for, which was a higher bit rate, because they just had a very low bit rate in 4K. So they did release a higher bit rate, but some other bugs got introduced with it. And I do like the fact that you can do a subject tracking at 2.7K on the Action 5 Pro, where it will kind of follow your movements within. So let's say that you're looking at a 4K screen right now. And let me get this part out of the way here so I can see what the heck I'm trying to show you. But let's say this much of it is actually going to be in frame. So this much of it kind of moves around and follows you around. That's nice because it reminds me of the Sony camera, the what was that, ZVE1. It does that. So I'm going to go to chat real quick because there are a couple of people in here, and I don't want to ignore you at all. Because I really didn't expect anybody to be on this live stream since it was such a last minute thing. So let's see. Spider Moose. You used to be DFW Spider Moose, didn't you? No, I meant it's like old time black and white movie when the audio doesn't follow the text speech. Yeah, well, I will apologize for everybody else watching. that the video and audio is out of sync. Normally, I do much better. This I don't like watching videos where the video and audio is out of sync, so I can imagine it's kind of trying on some people. Insta360R was followed by the 360 had a 1-inch sensor. Let me get this screen to pop over. 1-inch sensor on it, and it was a 360 huge footprint. 361 came out in 2022. Used footprint, an almost $1,000 camera, $899. It didn't sell much because it was too expensive. Yes, it is definitely too expensive. Uncle Trap Media, hard to watch. Laughing my ass off. Probably because I said the whole kung fu and I'm all out of sync. And let's see. I think it would be a breath of fresh air. The Yakuza have ruled the camera market and have been adding and taking away features for too long. Okay, you're going to have to fill me in on Yakuza because either I have not had enough coffee or it does not ring a bell or that's a martial arts reference. And if it was, Shotokan was what I studied when I was younger. Yakuza, I don't know. I'm going to go with I don't have enough coffee going with me. But Uncle Trapper Media, if you could tell me what the Yakuza thing is that a company or what? Japanese camera companies. Well, thank you very much for clarifying that. You know, this is one thing that DJI does, and they're very notorious about it. And I said it when I had the Mavic Pro drone. The Mavic Pro was such a great drone. It was really groundbreaking. Yakuza is the Japanese mafia. Okay, it's the ninjas of the market. Okay, thank you very much for that. Wow, I cannot believe I did not know that. The Japanese mafia, kind of like the Gambino family of camera companies. But the back to the Mavic Pro. The Mavic Pro was really, really good. I was really happy with it. And there was some rumors that DJI was going to come out with another drone. And they released the firmware for the Mavic Pro. And I did a video on it that they totally ruined the auto exposure on it. And most of the times, if I'm doing client work now, I record obviously in manual. But back then, it was just for the fun of it. And it was using auto exposure. And the auto exposure just went crazy. And I reached out to DJI about it. And they just kind of went totally radio silent. And DJI has never, ever sent me a product. And I anticipate that they never, ever will, because I'm very critical about products. If there's something wrong about a product, I call it out. If there's something that's great about a product, I call that out as well. I mean, I remember when they came out with the Osmo Action 1. And I praise that camera. That thing was just fantastic for what it was. And mine still works to this day, 2025. The Action 4. I think the Action 4 is a fantastic camera. And rugged, well built. The Action 5, same body style. They changed up some things. And that nonstop HDR is a problem. And yes, as they add, they do take away features. And I've noticed that with a lot of their products. And it's like DJI, they released that new firmware for the Pocket 3, where now you can do kind of like a 40 millimeter zoom in on it without any image quality loss. I'm not updating up to that because I think that the Pocket 4 is not too far away. And historically, at least for me, and I'm not telling you don't update firmwares. I'm just saying for me. Insta360, I've never had an issue with any of their firmware updates. They seem to be really good that they actually test the firmwares very thoroughly before that they release it to the general public. DJI, on the other hand, it's like they pushed out the Action 5 Pro as such a professional camera with all these new little features with it. And a lot of people, and if you go to the DJI Action 5 Pro forums, you'll see a lot of people complaining about a lot of things about the camera. And it makes me, I've seen some of these firmwares come out, and I have been updating them because I'm like, come on, let's just get it a little bit more, and I'll be more than happy to recommend this camera. It just seems that now they're starting to cripple it because now there's rumors, and there's been filings for the Action 6. So I think they're going to give up on the Action 5 Pro, and they're going to move on to the Action 6, and the Action 6 is going to be everything that the 5 Pro should have been. And that kind of goes back to like GoPro, for example. GoPro Hero 8, great camera. I really like the skin tones on the Hero 8. They came out with the 9, new body style. Then it had that audio popping problem, and I was one of the, I wasn't the first, but at least I think maybe I was, but let's say that I wasn't, but I was one of the first people that were complaining about this audio popping and crackling thing that was going on. And even Hoovy from Hoovy's Garage had commented on the video that he's very disappointed with the Hero 9 back then when that first came out. And GoPro didn't want to acknowledge this, so they came out with the 10. And then they came out with the 11. Then they came out with the 12, which I really think that the 12 is everything that the 11 should have been. Then they came out with this 13, and I just think 13 is a very unlucky number. And, I don't know if that's just from superstition standpoint, but, the 13 was kind of a flop for a lot of people because they're just like, where's this big innovation at? And it just seems that GoPro's kind of falling behind. And I feel bad for GoPro because they were the innovators. I mean, when you look at the original GoPro Hero and the Hero 3 and the Hero 4 at 4K, they really kind of broke the ground for a lot of people that do action sports and go skiing and whatnot, and here they are, they're being outpaced and out innovated in a huge way by all these other companies. And Insta360. So my vote, if I was a betting man, and I'll put a penny on this one, I think that the next camera is going to be the Go 4 with a Leica lens on it, and maybe even a larger sensor, since the Go 4, it's got a very small sensor in it. It does 4K at 30, which is great because that's an improvement over the original Go 3. But if anybody is still on the stream, if you could, in the comment section, in the chat, if you could tell me, what do you think that the next Insta360 camera is going to be that has this Leica lens, since it's going to be an action camera? And some may say, well, 360 camera is not really an action camera, but you can use it in a lot of action sports, especially if you go into single lens mode. It's just like an action camera. So Spider Moose, if you're still there, tell me what you think that the next Insta360 is, because I know that you've got a lot of the Insta360 products. And Uncle Trapper Media, you can comment down below too, and in the chat, and tell me which one, what do you think? Or is it going to be a whole new camera? I think it would be really cool. I hope the DJI rumor is correct, that they come out with a mirrorless camera. Can you imagine something this small that has stabilization? And that's the big kicker for me. Image quality, okay, micro four thirds size sensor, as long as it's got an interchangeable lens and it's got that stabilization. Because for all of us that have action cameras, we all know when you've got like the Ace Pro, the Ace Pro 2, the DJI, all of that, when you can walk around and it's like it's on a gimbal, that is phenomenal stabilization. And that's what we're missing with larger cameras. Even if it was just a pocketable camera. I mean, heck, I've got the old Sony ZV-1, and great camera. I do a lot of B-roll with it, but stabilization sucks on the camera. I mean, I hate to say it. I've got the Sony A7S III, stabilization sucks on it. The A7 IV stabilization sucks on it. The FX6 stabilization sucks on it. FX30 stabilization sucks on it. It needs a gimbal every time. Let's see. Uncle Trap Media, not a fan of single lens mode on the X4. I can appreciate that, because when you've got an X4 or X3, it's a 360 camera, so you want to be able to kind of reframe. But if you don't want to lose any image quality or have, and I guess when I say image quality, consider it's 8K, but you're going to output it as a 4K file because it's 8K between the two lenses. If you put it in single lens mode, it's still a very wide image, and you don't have to worry about that little seam where it goes between the two lenses. Although, I mean, if you set up your camera correctly and you've got a good distance, because if you're up close, if you've got a 360 camera and you hold it up to your face like this, yeah, you're going to see a distorted look where you look like Quasimodo. But anyway, how long have I been on this thing here? I've been on here for 36 minutes, it says. And if I've burned up your time, I do appreciate you watching. I apologize once again about the video and audio being out of sync. The Osbot Tiny 2 web camera the image quality doesn't look bad. It's just the delay going because it's the camera going through its software, going in the OBS, where the microphone is going straight into OBS. So I think that's my problem there regarding the out of sync Japanese kung fu voiceover look. But let's see, Spider Moose, if you're still here, tell me. Which Insta360 you think is going to have this Leica lens? This thing right there. What's it going to be? I mean, if you look at it, it looks like the Ace Pro or Ace Pro 2 rim with that red rim and then Leica lens. But then again, like I said, what do I know? I mean, it may not even be on the Go 4, but I think it's going to be a Go 4. That's where my money's at. And for those of you that are watching this live stream as a replay, put it down in the comment section below. What do you think about my analogy and my conjecture? Because that's all it is. I'm just speculating on what the new Insta360 camera is going to be. But, I'm always excited for Insta360 new products because they do come out with a lot of innovative products. But tell me down in the comment section below if you're on replay. For those of you that joined this live stream and commented in chat, I want to thank you very much. Uncle Trapper Media, I apologize about audio and video being so badly out of sync. I'm really curious because I want to watch the replay just to see exactly how bad it is. I mean, do I do and then 4 seconds later the audio comes in or my mouth matches it? Because if that's the case, then that's going to be really, really hard to watch. But anyway, I hope you guys have yourself a very good evening. I got a busy weekend. I've got a review video coming out on Monday. Got one coming out on Tuesday. Got one coming out on Wednesday. The Wednesday one, I've got to finish up editing. It's going to be a late night tonight. I got to finish up editing on that. But anyway, thank you once again for joining this live stream. I really do appreciate it, taking the time out of your evening to listen to an old man babbling about Insta360 and kind of spending a little bit of conjecture as far as, hey, what is this next camera going to be? So I hope you guys have yourself a good evening. And as always, I will catch you guys either in the next live stream or review or just blabbering or out of sync video.